Hello miners, I'm Chubb Dixon, and today we're going over the beefy B-52 bomber build in Deep Rock Galactic. These builds are designed to explore maxing out one character trait. Under the solo context, we will analyze the effectiveness, hazard level limits, and most importantly, amount of fun we will have running these builds. Today, it's all about the area of effect, also known as AoE, of Gunner's Thunderhead heavy autocannon. As you can see here, we primarily spec into AoE damage and secondarily spec into larger total ammo pool. As you have already guessed, we are using the brand new mortar rounds overclock. Now this overclock does quite a few things, but the two most significant are the insane increase in AoE damage and the equally as painful hit to our overall ammo pool. For our secondary, we're ripping the Bulldog heavy revolver, mostly because it is our only explosive secondary option, but also because it is super fun to run elephant rounds with stabilization perks. Now, I could be deviating from the overall idea of becoming a B-52 bomber in DRG, but tell me that a highly accurate, hard-hitting, explosive round is not indicative of this magnificent creature. To achieve all this, we take the perks you see here on your screen with large flashing arrows that I was too lazy to read out. Take note of that middle one, as that is technically what makes this thing explosive. Hey, don't blame me, them's the rules. Naturally, being an AoE build means taking the AoE pickaxe perk, so we end up with the basic 1-2. The same goes for our shield generator, unintentionally creating our own planetarium of Hoxies, a pleasant respite from the ensuing chaos. All fancy lingo aside, this joker's big. And to make it big, we take the 2-2-1. We aren't even gonna mention this horrid faced failure of an equipment slot. And of course, we're rocking the cluster grenade. You can't even tell it's going off half the time, and that's okay. When it comes to armor, the first two perks are up to you. The third perk slot is not only non-negotiable, but necessary to prevent workplace accidents. There are two necessary perks we need to take, but only one of them is AoE related, and that's the notoriously game-breaking "it's a bug" thing. All jokes aside, the other necessary perk when playing multiplayer is friendly. This reduces the inevitable explosive damage you will be doing to your fellow dwarves. Other than that, it's up to personal preference, but I take the usual: Thorns, Dash, and Iron Will. I mean, come on. It's as awesome as it looks, and absolutely shreds swarms. You might think it would struggle with larger targets, but the AoE is so large that it practically ignores armor. You can shoot oppressors straight in the face and still damage them from behind. The Bulldog is also a reliable secondary that covers the lack of range of our primary, giving us a well-rounded build. You would think the ammo reduction would be a significant drawback, but since you are hitting multiple enemies per round, you really don't notice it too much. The keywords there are too much, as you still have to consciously manage nitro levels with expected swarms. Now I know this analysis is in the solo-only context, but it is worth mentioning the team damage here. Even with friendly, your fellow coworkers will either learn their lesson quickly or leave the game after they refuse to adjust their playstyle. As the perpetrator of this chaos, try to be wary of other builds that need to be close to the action, like cryo drillers. With all that said, this portion of the cons will not be factored into the final effectiveness rating, as it is a multiplayer only issue. Aside from that not so brief ramble, this build suffers from what every gunner suffers from: low mobility. Without second wind, escaping bugs is difficult. And with a very low timer on our shield, we don't exactly have the ability to fully counteract this lack of movement. This build lives exactly up to its namesake, destroying the lives of enemy combatants, alongside a few forgettable non-combatant casualties. Because of this, and the reasons mentioned above, the B-52 build gets a 2.5 beer rating for effectiveness. Yeah, I'm a terminal gunner hater, and there's nothing you can do to say or change my mind. There were a few curious commenters on the last video, asking why I lost so much of my health in engagements. I gave them a semi-bullshit answer, which was technically true, but the real reason I was getting my ass whooped was because I was playing with the custom difficulty mod on Hazard 6x2. This mod increases damage dealt, glyphid speed, and doubles the spawn cap. The same goes for the gameplay you see here, because, well, it looks way cooler to mow down 180 bugs than just a measly 90. So yeah, I get hit, but I get back up.
7, 8.
When rating the hazard level, I try to rank based off the casual player's experience. So with all of that out of the way, this build gets a flat 4 beer rating for hazard level. As for fun, however, easy 5 out of 5. This means our overall rating is just under 4 beers, respectable, and carried by the most important metric, fun. And that's it. Have a wonderful day, God bless, and remember, miners, cock and bone.